feels like a long time coming. And personally, as a coach, I'm always feeling like, we're just not prepared completely. Are we ready? Are we not? Did we do everything? And that's just the coach in me. These guys are ready to play. They're anxious to get on the field. They're anxious to face a different pitching staff. They're anxious to pitch to different hitters. I mean, we've covered about everything I can think of. So they're excited. We're excited to get started. We want to come in and attack. That is the motto and the motion we're in is attack, set the tone. Kind of like being in a boxing ring, like throwing the first punch, but throwing more punches often and landing them. That is kind of the goal here. Going into this kind of just building off of that as we go through the weekend. And, we've got prize fights in front of us this early. And I look back a year ago and at this time of the season, I'm just trying to find someone to play because everything was canceling. And so it's just quite different. It's really a challenge early in the season, which we didn't have last year. And that is something that I'm looking forward to. I don't know how much our newcomers will get a lot of play. I'm going to do my best. I need them to just pay attention and learn the game more than anything. They'll get pieces of it. They'll get bites. They'll get opportunities to get in. The one player, again, that is going to get significant time on the mound is Jordy Ball. And everything about her at practice shows she is concentrated and ready. But when you put her on a different stage where it's real, I'm anxious to see what that looks like for her and if anything changes. But we have really outstanding leadership. And I think like I had said earlier, our upperclassmen are talking the game. So when these freshmen are in the dugout, the game's going to be talked about and they need to listen. And that is keeping their attention and listening and learning and watching. So when it is your opportunity, you are very prepared. So that's kind of what our hope is that if you don't get a lot of playing time, at least you're really watching it in motion and gathering the information. So I got a lot of good players, and that's a lot of players to play in a 7-inning game. And sometimes we're not going to play 7-inning games. So how do I squeeze everybody in a 5-inning game? Those are always challenges, and they're good challenges, but it's still kind of hard because you want everybody to get some opportunity in at bats. Last year we had 7 pitchers. It sounds like a lot of depth, but it just wasn't good enough. So you ended up with 2 to 3 that you were using. And there were times when Giselle was not serviceable. So now we're down to 2 and bringing somebody in who maybe isn't quite ready for it. I feel a very solid 3, and Macy McAdoo was making some waves here as well for a solid 4th if we need that. But she's getting better, and she had injuries that kept her from really showing us what she's capable of. So as barring any kind of injury, I feel very good about our depth. And just the fitness level of our pitching staff is commendable. You'll see it when you watch it. You're going to go, geez, wow. Specifically, Jordy Ball. She's just got a fitness level and a strength level I've never seen in a freshman. So we've got to stay away from the injury bug. And also, what's kind of nice about Jordy is she's gonna hit for us as well. So it's been a while since I've had a pitcher that has done both, and we're looking forward to that. So many things keep control of what's going on in their mind, but the most important thing that I know through experience is that you do not look in the rearview mirror. You look out the front windshield and you see what's ahead of you. Don't try to match what you did last year. Don't try to mimic anything or think that you're going to have the same feelings. It's a completely different journey. And biggest roadblock you can have is if you try to outdo yourself in your performances the year before. And that is where we've gotten into a lot of trouble in the past. We've talked about it a lot. And I mean, these are things that are going to pop up on us as we go along. So we need to be ready and not be surprised by some of these things that might show up, and be ready to handle them. So nothing's going to surprise us. We're going to be ready for anything, whether it's personal issue that a player has because they're trying too hard. We're going to be very in tune and have our hands all over that. So those are things with the younger players, and all specifically 3 of our now sophomores have had phenomenal year, a lot of experience being part of that. And it's interesting because I think it's just natural behavior to want to outdo yourself or live up to what people believe your expectations, like what their expectations are for you. And we got to understand this isn't about trying to please anyone. It's about playing as a team and doing it together, having each other's back. Those are the important parts of this. Dealing with completely opposite problems. They're not problems. And Coach Rocha has a new exuberance with the pitching staff. Working with Jordy Ball is something you could really enjoy as a pitching coach, and watching a young incoming freshman and what she's about to embark on this season. And I've seen Hope's improvement leaps and bounds. So she's really having fun kind of working with new pitchers and reaching their potential. And Nicole May's experience has been off the charts. And I think that's really going to continue to catapult her. Experience is what we have more than anyone else. And you can't buy it. You can't teach it. You can't learn it. You have to live it. And that's what we've been able to do. One thing that JT would be really proud of, the other day we had pitchers throwing live kind of around the snowbound field. And we had a group of 6 live hitters going against, pitchers, one pitcher at a time. And the group of 6 would gather together and talk. I could hear them talking. All right, let's get together. Let's get our game plan together here. And they're coaching each other, and they're learning, and they're talking coach talk. And that is the greatest compliment JT could ever get, is knowing that they're listening and they're learning and they're sharing. He's done a really great job with, we have some new freshmen that we're really trying to get caught up. And it's almost unfair to them because our freshmen are at our sophomores now are such a high level that we're expecting these freshmen get up there, and they get pushed and pushed and pushed, and they're not quite ready, but they'll get there. And that's where has been, as well as making sure that some of these players are not chasing. They're getting really frustrated when they face our pitchers. And why can't I hit like I was, that kind of talk. And we're like, you need to knock that off right now. And that is thinking backwards. And that's what we don't want them to do. So approaches are all over this field. We have different approaches for different players. And I think we're hitting the mark right now. It's just getting them to understand that softball and this journey we're about to take is not the end all. It's not the most important thing in the world. It's something that we have the honor and privilege to do. The author of the book is a very good friend of mine, and he's done a lot of work here with the Oklahoma athletic department and a lot of us coaches. And he's been very, very helpful to me. And quite honestly, from a coaching standpoint, his book changed my world. It really changed my world. It allowed me to understand how to meet athletes halfway instead of being the iron fist. It was more of like, let me meet them halfway. That was part of it. But it's really an easy read for an athlete. And I really recommend it for a lot of young athletes who are starting to get into the thick of recruitment. And because there's so much anxiety and just depression because you're not reaching these goals that everyone thinks you should be reaching, whether it's your parents, your coaches, your friends, or just the people out there that are trolling all over. So I think they got a lot out of it. I think it really resonated to them as players as much as it resonated to me as a coach. I got here, I wasn't a player's coach. I was a push. I was a disciplined coach. I didn't let players get away with a lot of things. I just ran a very tight ship. And it's funny because now those players are like, I can't even believe you let your team get away with this, get away with that. I knew that there was a generation change happening, and I knew that my style was not going to fit them. And that's when I knew I had to meet them about halfway. It was probably around the Kehlani Ricketts freshman year time. It was that group that was coming in that I felt different. I felt them different. Not that they didn't work as hard. They just needed to be treated a little bit differently, a little more gently, I guess. I would hope, I think I am much more of a player's coach now than I was. But I also made sure that they knew who I was, whether it's through my stories about my family or my family being around, certain things about me that they know, whether it's music, whether it's whatever it is. I think that important for me to create a relationship with them. And that is what was really different, is that I spent time really talking to each one of them, whether it's over breakfast or in my office or what have you. I really created more of a relationship than I ever have.
For more information, you can visit TulsaWorld.com.